One starving alien child offered her doll for food. Her little sister was eating grass. Rian Vale moved quietly through the crowded market of Dravora colony, trying not to draw attention. The air was dusty. Voices blended into a low noisy hum. Strange alien smells floated everywhere. Rian kept his head down. He only wanted to buy a few supplies and return to his small outpost. But then, a tiny tug on his coat stopped him. He turned slowly. A small alien girl stood there. Thin. Shaking. Her clothes were dirty. She held a torn cloth toy in both hands like it was the most important thing she owned. Her eyes were huge, glowing softly, but filled with hunger and fear. She looked no older than 7. She lifted her toy toward him. Her voice cracked. "Human, my doll for food, please." Rian blinked. For a second, he thought he misheard her. Then she pointed behind him with trembling fingers. Rian turned. Another small girl, even younger, was on her knees in the dirt. She tried to chew dry grass, but her mouth was too dry. Her lips were cracked. Her skin looked pale and sick. She swayed like she was about to fall over. People in the market walked around her without even looking. Some stepped over her like she was nothing. Rian felt anger rising inside him. He knelt slowly, making sure not to scare the older girl. "It's okay," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." The older girl stepped back, hugging her doll tightly. She looked like she expected him to grab it and run. Rian opened his small pack and pulled out a piece of ration bread. The smell made both girls stare at it with wide, desperate eyes. "Here," he whispered. "Take it." The younger child crawled closer, but she moved weakly. The older girl rushed forward, grabbed the bread, and broke it cleanly in half. She put the bigger half in her sister's hands before taking a tiny bite for herself. That simple act hit Rian hard. This girl was starving, yet she still fed her sister first. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He noticed faint glowing lines around their necks and wrists. Strange patterns. Symbols. Not random marks. Something meaningful. "Where are your parents?" Rian asked gently. The older girl looked away, too scared to speak. The younger one only clutched her bread and shivered. Rian slowly offered his water bottle. The younger sister drank too fast and coughed. The older girl pulled her closer and rubbed her back, trying to calm her like a little mother. These children were alone. Terrified. Hunted by something. "Do you have a home?" Rian asked. The older girl's voice shook. "Home, yes. Mama sick. Cannot move. Sick." Rian repeated quietly. She nodded. A cold feeling went through him. If their mother was sick and they were out here begging for food, then these children were in real danger. "Can I help?" he asked. The girl hugged her doll tightly. Her eyes filled with fear. But after a long moment, she nodded. "You follow." Quiet. Very quiet. She grabbed her little sister's hand and began walking fast through the crowd. Rian followed close behind. The noise of the market faded as they slipped into narrow alleys. Broken metal sheets formed makeshift tunnels. Trash and shadows filled every corner. The girls moved quickly, like they knew every hidden path. They kept looking over their shoulders. Every small sound made them jump. Someone was looking for them. Someone dangerous. Rian's instincts sharpened. He stayed alert. Finally, the girls stopped at an old bunker half buried under dirt and scrap metal. The older girl pushed the heavy door open. Inside was darkness. Cold. Silence. Rian stepped in. Then he saw her. A weak alien woman lay on the floor, barely breathing. Her skin was pale and dry. her eyes half open. She looked like she had not eaten in days. The moment she saw Rian, fear flashed in her eyes. The older girl rushed to her. "Mama, human bring food." "Good human." "Not bad." The mother tried to sit up but couldn't. She whispered something faint. Rian stepped closer. And noticed the same glowing symbols on her skin, but brighter. More complex. Almost royal. A chill ran through him. This family was hiding a secret. A dangerous secret. And Rian had just walked straight into it. The bunker air was cold and still. Dust floated in thin rays of light coming from a crack in the ceiling. Rian stayed near the doorway, letting his eyes adjust. The two girls knelt beside their mother, whispering softly, trying to comfort her. The mother stared at Rian with weak, frightened eyes. Her breaths came slow and uneven. She looked like she was fighting to stay awake. Fighting to stay alive. Rian raised his hands gently. "I won't harm you," he said. "I only want to help." The mother's gaze softened, but only a little. She looked at her daughters again, then gave the smallest nod. Rian knelt beside her and offered water. Her fingers shook so badly she couldn't hold the bottle. The older girl took it and helped her mother drink tiny sips. The younger girl held her mother's hand, whispering something in their language, a prayer, maybe. Rian watched the glowing markings on all three of them. Thin lines. Soft light. Beautiful but strange. He had traveled across half the galaxy and never seen symbols like these. "Who did this to you?" he asked quietly. The older girl pressed her lips together. She didn't want to answer. Didn't know if she could trust him. The younger sister rocked slowly, hugging her knees. She looked terrified of something outside the bunker. Rian felt pressure building in the room. A story waiting to be told. A danger waiting to return. Finally the older girl spoke. Her voice was tiny. "Hunters. They come. They hurt Mama. They want us." Rian's stomach tightened. "Why?" he asked. The girl clutched her doll tighter, as if hiding behind it. "Mama special. We special." Rian leaned closer, studying the patterns on the mother's skin. The glowing marks were brighter than the girl's, shaped almost like ancient designs or royal seals. Royal. Important. Something clicked inside him. But before he could speak, a faint metallic clank echoed through the alley outside. All three of them froze. Another sound followed. Softer. Closer. Footsteps. Slow. Searching. Rian's instincts kicked in immediately. He moved to the bunker door and pressed his ear against the metal panel. The steps stopped. He didn't breathe. A long shadow appeared under the crack of the door. The older girl grabbed her sister and whispered, trembling. "They smell us." Rian raised a finger to his lips. Quiet. Another shadow passed. It paused. The air was heavy with the feeling of being hunted. The mother tried to sit, panic rising in her eyes, but her body was too weak. She could barely lift her head. Rian scanned the bunker quickly. No windows. Only one entrance. No escape. They were trapped. And the hunters were outside. He stepped back into the darkest corner near the door, ready to move if it opened. His heartbeat was steady. Slow. Focused. He had been trained for ambush situations. But facing predators while protecting a dying mother and two starving children was something else entirely. The footsteps drifted away. Silence returned. But it felt temporary. Like the eye of a storm. Rian whispered firmly, "This place is not safe. We need to leave." The older girl looked at her mother. "Mama, we go. Human help." The mother opened her eyes, fighting exhaustion. She stared at Rian for a long moment. Her lips trembled. Then she whispered a single word. Trust. That was enough. Rian moved quickly but carefully. He lifted the mother into his arms. She was light, too light, like she had been starving for days. Her breathing brushed weakly against his chest. The girls held onto his shirt tightly as he stepped toward the exit. Before he opened the door, he glanced at them. Stay close. Don't make a sound. The older girl nodded quickly. Rian pushed the door open just an inch. The alley outside was dark and narrow. Faint night wind carried dust across the ground. Shadows stretched long between broken metal walls. No hunters in sight. But danger close. Rian slipped out quietly, the children behind him, and began moving through the tight passageways. Every step echoed softly. Every corner felt alive with threat. The mother whispered with fading strength. Hurry, they return. Rian tightened his hold. He didn't know who the hunters were. He didn't know why the girls had royal markings. He didn't know how far the danger spread. But he knew one thing with perfect clarity. He was not letting anything happen to these children. Not while he was alive. And as they disappeared deeper into the shadows of Dravora, something in the air changed. The hunters weren't the only danger in the city tonight. Something bigger was coming. Something far worse. Rian moved fast through the narrow alleys, but he kept each step soft and careful. The mother in his arms breathed in weak, shaky gasps. Her skin felt cold. Too cold. The two little girls held onto him tightly, trying to match his pace with their tiny legs. The wind shifted suddenly. Rian froze. Something in the air felt wrong. Heavy. Thick. Watching. The older girl tugged his sleeve and pointed toward a broken metal sheet lying on the ground. Beneath it was a hole barely big enough for a child. Here. Secret way. Hunters don't know. Rian crouched and lifted the slab. A dark tunnel yawned below, smelling of rust, damp stone, and old machinery. You've used this before, he whispered. The girl nodded. Many times. When hunters come. That was all he needed. He lowered himself into the tunnel first, gently guiding the mother through. The older girl slid down next, then the younger one. Once everyone was inside, Rian pulled the metal sheet back into place. Darkness swallowed them. Drips echoed from pipes above. The floor was cold under Rian's boots. The tunnel was so low that he had to bend his head while walking. The girls walked in front, moving with surprising confidence. Their small feet barely made a sound. Rian watched them closely. These children knew how to hide. They knew how to survive. That scared him more than anything. After several minutes, the tunnel widened into a hidden chamber. Broken crates lay scattered around, and soft old fabric covered the floor. The air was a little warmer here. The older girl dropped to her knees beside her mother. Mama, rest. Please rest. The mother's eyes fluttered open. Her voice was a faint breath. Not safe, not long. Rian set her down gently. Her glowing symbols flickered weakly, like dimming lights. The younger girl held her mother's hand tightly. Mama, no leave. Mama, stay. Rian knelt beside them. He checked the woman's pulse. Weak. Unsteady. She needed real medical attention, not scraps of water and hiding places. What happened? Rian asked softly. Why are hunters after you? The mother tried to speak. Her lips trembled. The older girl leaned down to listen. A moment passed. Then the girl whispered. They want us. Mama, protect. Mama, fight. Hunters try take us. Rian frowned. But why? Why take you? The mother gathered the last of her strength. She lifted a shaking hand and touched the glowing symbol on her daughter's neck. The lines shimmered softly. Rian stared at the pattern. A mark of status. A mark of power. Royal, the mother breathed. We, last of royal blood. Betrayal, soldiers, throne stolen. Rian felt a cold shock. Royal heirs. A hunted queen. Children carrying the last line of succession. It made sense now, the secrecy, the fear, the glowing markings. But before Rian could ask anything else, a loud clang echoed through the tunnel behind them. Then another. Metal on stone. Closer. Closer. The older girl gasped and grabbed her sister. They found us. They follow smell. Rian rose to his feet instantly. His body tensed. His heartbeat slowed in the way only trained fighters understood. He picked up a long rusted pipe from the floor, heavy, sturdy enough to use as a weapon. Stay behind me, he ordered softly. Do not move. The girls nodded. Tears filled their eyes, but they stayed silent. The mother whispered, voice trembling. Human, protect them. Rian stepped to the entrance of the chamber. The footsteps grew louder. Scraping. Sniffing. Hunting. A long shadow appeared on the tunnel wall. Then another. Rian tightened his grip on the pipe. Their breathing echoed through the darkness, low, predatory, patient. The hunters knew there was only one way out. They were blocking it. Rian's jaw tightened. He glanced behind him, two frightened girls, a dying queen. No one else would protect them. No one else could. Rian took one slow breath. Then another. He whispered to himself. If they want the heirs, they'll meet me first. The first hunter stepped into the chamber. Its armor glowed faint red. Its scanner buzzed. Its claws twitched. It did not expect resistance. It did not expect a human. And it definitely did not expect what came next. Rian moved. Fast. Like a strike of lightning inside the dark tunnel. The fight for their lives had begun. The first hunter stepped fully into the chamber, its armored boots scraping the tunnel floor. A red glow pulsed from its visor, scanning the room in sharp lines. It was tall and heavily built, almost touching the ceiling. Its claws flexed as it sniffed the air. It smelled fear. It smelled weakness. It smelled prey. What it did not expect was a human standing between it and the children, holding a metal pipe like it was a blade forged for war. Rian didn't wait. He attacked first. He swung the pipe in a clean arc. The metal slammed into the side of the hunter's mask with a loud crack. Sparks flew. The hunter roared in surprise, stumbling back. A second hunter crawled through the tunnel mouth behind the first one. Its armor scraped the walls as it forced its way inside. Its glowing spear hummed dangerously. Rian's heart pounded, but his hand stayed steady. One wrong step and the girls would die. One mistake and the queen would never breathe again. The first hunter lunged at him with a claw swipe. Rian ducked under it and jabbed the pipe into its ribs. The creature grunted, recoiling. The armor there was thick, but the force still shocked it. The second hunter pushed forward, blocking Rian's escape route. Its spear lit the chamber with blue fire. The children whimpered behind him. Rian shifted his stance. He couldn't let the spear touch him, not even once. The second hunter thrust. Rian sidestepped. The glowing blade sliced into the wall, melting a line of metal. The tunnel filled with burning smoke. Rian charged the second hunter, grabbing the spear shaft with both hands. The alien pulled back hard, its strength immense. Rian's muscles strained, but he didn't let go. The spear hummed inches from his face. The first hunter recovered and rushed forward. Rian twisted the spear and shoved the second hunter into the first. Both collided in a mess of claws and armor. The older girl gasped. The younger one covered her ears and cried silently. Rian didn't stop. He swung the pipe again. This time into the joint of the second hunter's armor. The blow shook the entire chamber. The hunter howled. But the narrow tunnel gave Rian an advantage. They were big. Slow. Trapped by their own armor. He was small. Fast. Angry. The second hunter raised the spear again, but Rian kicked its leg out, forcing it to kneel. He grabbed the shaft and twisted fiercely. The hunter lost its grip. The spear clattered on the floor. Rian seized it. Now the weapon hummed in his hands. The first hunter roared and lunged again. Rian blocked its claws with the spear handle, then slammed the blunt end into its throat plate. The alien choked, stumbling. Rian didn't give it time to recover. He struck again. And again. Until the armor cracked and the hunter fell sideways, gasping. The second hunter crawled forward, trying to rise. Rian stepped in front of the children, spear raised. The hunter saw the human's eyes. Cold, focused, burning with fury. It hesitated. A mistake. Rian drove the blunt end of the spear into its chest plate, pushing it backward. The creature fell to its knees. Its weaponless hands shook. It looked almost afraid. Rian inhaled once. Exhaled slowly. Then he struck the final blow. The hunter collapsed, its armor clattering on the stone floor. Silence filled the chamber. Only the soft crying of the girls and the mother's weak breaths remained. Rian stood there, chest heaving, sweat dripping down his forehead. His ribs ached from the strain. His knuckles burned. But he didn't let himself rest. More footsteps echoed in the tunnel. Soft. Steady. Multiple. More hunters. Rian tightened his grip on the spear. He turned to the children. His voice low, calm, controlled. Stay behind me. Do not move. No matter what you hear. The older girl swallowed hard and nodded. We trust you. The queen opened her eyes weakly. Her voice was a whisper carried by the cold air. Human, protect them, until I rise. Rian didn't look back. He faced the darkness of the tunnel. Shadows moved. Figures gathered. Weapons glowed faint blue. A full hunting party. Rian lifted the spear. One human. Against an army. His jaw tightened. Come on, he murmured. The hunters roared and charged. And Rian stepped forward to meet them. The tunnel shook as the hunters charged. Their armored footsteps boomed like drums in the dark. The narrow stone walls trembled with every impact. Dust fell from above. The younger girl whimpered and hid her face in her sister's arms. Rian didn't wait for them to reach him. He moved. He spun the alien spear in his hands and struck the tunnel wall to draw their attention. The glowing blade carved a bright line across the stone, and the hunters roared in frustration. They were too many. Too close. Too fast. Rian stepped backward slowly, keeping himself between the family and the enemy. The mother lay helpless on the floor, her eyes half open, her breath soft and fragile. She wouldn't survive another fight. They had to escape. Now. A deafening blast hit the tunnel entrance, shaking the entire chamber. Fragments of metal and stone burst everywhere. The older girl grabbed Rian's sleeve. Human. Quick. Next way. This side. Rian followed her pointed finger. A smaller pipe passage opened near the back of the chamber, a rusted tunnel barely big enough for a child. It's too small, Rian said. We fit. You carry Mama. Behind them, the hunters screeched and scraped against the walls, forcing their way into the chamber. Their claws sparked against stone. Their weapons hummed with deadly light. There was no time to argue. Rian lifted the queen again. Her body was cold and limp, barely responding. He ducked into the narrow pipe. His shoulders barely fit. Metal scraped against his back as he pushed through. The girls crawled ahead of him, moving fast, their hands slapping against the cold metal floor. Behind them, hunters fought to squeeze into the pipe, their armor scraping violently. Rian heard one roar in frustration as it got stuck. Good. He needed every second. The pipe sloped downward, then turned left sharply. Water pooled at the bottom, splashing under their feet. The queen's breathing grew lighter, almost silent. Hold on, Rian whispered to her. Don't give up. The mountain of metal rumbled behind him. The hunters had broken free and were crawling through, slower but unstoppable. The girls hurried through a broken grate at the end of the pipe. Rian forced himself through, bending his body to fit, scraping his arms and shoulders. The queen felt like she was fading in his hands. The grate opened into an old storage hall. Dust floated in beams of dying light. Empty crates were scattered. A few broken machines leaned against the walls, their screens cracked and lifeless. Silence filled the room. A dangerous silence. Rian listened. There. A faint clicking sound outside the hall. More hunters. They had surrounded the area. The older girl grabbed Rian's wrist, her voice shaking. We run. Big alley outside. Safe path. Mama hide here once. Not safe anymore, Rian thought. Not with hunters closing in from every direction. But he had no choice. He lifted the queen again, her head resting weakly against his shoulder. The girls followed close behind him as he pushed open the rusted side door. Cold night air hit their faces. The sky was dark purple, filled with swirling clouds and the faint glow of factory towers. The alley stretched long and empty, too quiet. Too exposed. They ran. Their footsteps echoed off the metal walls. The little sister stumbled once, nearly falling, but Rian caught her with one hand and kept moving. Every rooftop felt like a threat. Every shadow felt alive. The older girl whispered, faster, human. They come. They smell us. Rian's grip tightened around the queen. A loud crack echoed behind them. Then a blast of blue light shot past, striking the wall ahead. Stone and sparks exploded outward. The girls screamed and ducked. Rian spun around. 3 hunters stood at the far end of the alley, weapons glowing. Give us the heirs, human, and live, the tallest one growled. Rian stepped forward, placing himself between the girls and the enemy. No. More hunters dropped from the rooftops. 2 behind them. Now 5. Trapped. The queen weakly opened her eyes. Rian, leave me, save them. He shook his head hard. I'm not leaving anyone. The hunters stepped closer. Their weapons hummed, charging up. Then. A sharp alarm cut through the sky. A long, piercing siren. Followed by bright red scanning lights sweeping across the district. The hunters stiffened. Security drones. City patrol. Someone must have reported a fight. The hunters hissed in anger, retreating into shadows. Before disappearing, the leader snarled. We track them again. The heirs will not escape. Rian didn't wait for the drones to arrive. Move, he said, guiding the girls down another alley. The older one pointed ahead. Broken bridge. Mama hide under. Safe there. Rian ran. His breath burned. His arms ached. The queen's pulse was faint. Almost gone. The younger girl cried softly as she ran beside him. Mama, please stay. Rian's jaw tightened. They were running out of time. Running out of places to hide. Running out of hope. But he wasn't giving up. Not on them. Not tonight. Because something told him the hunters weren't the only ones coming. Something bigger was descending on Dravora. And this small family was at the center of it. The broken bridge rose ahead like the skeleton of an old giant. Metal beams jutted out in strange angles. Rusted machines lay in the dried riverbed below, half buried in sand and dust. The wind howled under the bridge, echoing like distant voices. Rian slowed down and knelt beneath the bridge's shadow. He gently lowered the queen onto a patch of dirt. Her breathing was shallow, almost silent. Her eyes fluttered weakly, barely able to focus. The older girl fell to her knees beside her. Mama, please wake. We safe now. The younger girl bit her trembling lip. Mama, no sleep, no leave us. Rian placed 2 fingers on the queen's neck. Her pulse was faint, flickering like a dying flame. Why are they hunting you? He asked softly. The older girl hesitated, then reached for the glowing patterns on her mother's throat. The symbols shimmered faintly even in the darkness. Mama, queen of our people. Betrayed. Soldiers take throne. Bad men want us. Rian felt the truth sink in. Not refugees. Not random victims. A dethroned queen. And 2 princesses. He had been protecting royalty this entire time. Rian clenched his jaw. He wasn't letting them die here. Before he could respond, the ground began to tremble. Light vibrated across the sky in thin lines, like cracks in reality itself. The tremor grew stronger. The girls pressed close to Rian, eyes wide with fear. Human, what happened? Rian didn't answer. He stared upward. The clouds above the city split open. A brilliant beam of white-blue light pierced through the darkness. Out of it descended a massive shape, immense, metallic, and glowing with shifting colors of silver and deep cosmic purple. A royal dreadnought. Then another descended behind it. Then smaller escort ships. Dozens of them. They came down in perfect formation, forming a shimmering ring around the broken bridge as wind blasted across the ruins. The younger sister covered her ears. Too loud, too bright. Rian shielded her with his arm. The largest vessel landed directly in front of them. The ground shook violently. Dust flew everywhere. Its hull shimmered with the same pattern the queen bore on her skin. Royal symbols. The door of the ship opened with a thunderous hiss. Armored figures marched out, tall, elegant, deadly. Their armor glowed with polished silver lines. They carried long crystal-laced weapons and moved with the discipline of elite soldiers. When they saw the queen lying in the dirt, they froze. Then every single one of them dropped to one knee. Their voices echoed in perfect unison. Your Majesty, we have returned. The older girl shook her mother gently. Mama, look, your soldiers come. They hear now. The queen's eyes opened a fraction. She whispered, barely audible. My daughters, safe? Rian nodded. Yes. I kept them safe. More soldiers rushed forward with a glowing medical pod. They cried out when they saw the queen's condition. She's fading, prepare the healing capsule. But before they could lift her, the queen raised a trembling hand. Wait. Her arm pointed weakly toward Rian. The human standing protectively behind her daughters. The commander hesitated, unsure. The queen forced out a whisper, her voice soft and cracked. Trust him. Every soldier immediately lowered their weapons and bowed their heads. Rian felt the girls cling to him more tightly as the queen was gently lifted into the healing pod. The capsule sealed with a hum of blue light, sending waves of energy through her weak body. The healers looked tense, their faces tight with fear. Her life force is unstable, one muttered. We may have arrived too late, whispered another. The older daughter held Rian's arm. Will Mama live? Rian knelt and put a hand on her shoulder. I don't know, he said honestly. But they're trying. Above them, the sky glowed with the reflection of the royal fleet, like stars brought down to the earth. But something darker entered the scene. A deep, rumbling engine. Heavier. Lower. Rian looked up. A gigantic black warship hovered at the edge of the royal fleet. Its surface was matte and lifeless, like a void that swallowed the light around it. Red symbols pulsed faintly along its hull. The older girl gasped, horror flooding her face. Hunter's ship, no, no, not them. Rian's eyes narrowed. Not hunters. Something worse. On the side of the ship, a symbol glowed. A broken royal emblem. The emblem of a traitor. The air grew thick and tense as the black ship turned toward them. Its ramp began to open. Rian steadied his grip on the spear. The girls huddled behind him. The royal soldiers raised their weapons. The queen remained inside the glowing pod, her life hanging by a single fragile thread. The traitor had arrived. And the final battle for the heirs had just begun. The black warship hovered like a shadow made of steel. Its engines growled across the ruins, shaking the broken bridge and sending dust swirling in violent circles. Even the royal soldiers stiffened. They knew exactly who had arrived. The traitor. The one who stole the throne. The one who hunted the heirs. The one who wanted the queen dead. A loud metallic thud echoed as the ship's ramp slammed down. A tall figure stepped out, wearing black armor carved with red cracks that pulsed like veins of fire. His mask was sharp, his movements calm and cruel. He stopped at the bottom of the ramp and spoke in a voice that carried across the battlefield. Give me the heirs, and your suffering ends. Refuse, and your bloodline dies tonight. The royal soldiers raised their glowing weapons. The air trembled with tension. Rian stepped forward before anyone else could move. He placed himself between the traitor and the princesses. He held the alien spear tight. His jaw locked. His stance unshaken. You're not touching them. The traitor tilted his head slowly, studying Rian like a puzzle. A human. You dare place yourself before me? You think your fragile body can stand against my power? Rian's grip tightened. I'm not here to be strong, he said quietly. I'm here to protect them. Behind him, the older girl whispered with trembling hope. Earthfather, please don't fall. The traitor raised one hand. Energy gathered in his palm, a swirling ball of red lightning. Then die for them, human. He fired. The blast shot toward Rian like a burning comet. Rian rolled aside and sprinted forward. He swung the spear, sparks flying as it clashed against the traitor's armored arm. The impact sent shockwaves through the ground. The traitor snarled and struck back. Rian blocked the first hit. Dodged the second. The third hit landed. Rian crashed into a pile of metal beams. His ribs screamed. His breath caught. But the princess's terrified cries pushed him back to his feet. He spat blood and stood again. The traitor's voice dripped with mockery. You do not know when to die. Not today. Rian whispered. The traitor came at him with violent speed. Rian parried, ducked, twisted, using every scrap of training and every ounce of desperation. But the traitor was stronger, faster, merciless. Another blow slammed Rian to the ground. The girls screamed his name. The traitor lifted his hand for the final strike. And then, the air exploded with blinding purple light. The healing pod behind the soldiers cracked open. Sparks of royal energy blasted in every direction. The queen stepped out slowly, her body weak, but surrounded by swirling cosmic power. Her eyes burned with fierce royal flame. Everyone froze. Even the traitor. The queen raised one trembling hand. You dare threaten my children, in my presence? The wind roared around her like a rising storm. Her glowing symbols pulsed brighter than the stars. The traitor staggered back. Impossible. You were dying. I rise, for them. The queen extended her hand toward him. A wave of purple force shot forward like a shock wave made of light. The traitor tried to block it, but it slammed into him with crushing power. Royal soldiers charged, surrounding him instantly. He struggled, roaring in rage, but he was outmatched. The guards dragged him to the ground, pinning him with glowing restraints. His rebellion ended. His war lost. The queen slowly walked toward Rian. Her legs shook with weakness, but her gaze stayed steady. She knelt beside him, her daughters rushing into her arms. The older girl looked up at Rian with teary eyes. He saved us, Mama. Human, protect us. The queen placed her hand on Rian's forehead. Human Rian Vale, you saved my heirs when all hope was gone. You fought an army alone. You stood when even my soldiers feared to move. Her voice trembled with deep emotion. For this, my kingdom owes you a debt no star can measure. She removed her glowing royal emblem from her arm, a rare symbol worn only by rulers, and placed it in Rian's palm. This marks you as honored in my empire. No one may harm you. Ever. Wherever you walk under my protection. Rian stared at the emblem, stunned. The older princess hugged him tightly. You are Star Father forever. The younger one wiped her tears and nodded. Come with us, please come to Sky Home. We wait for you. Rian smiled softly. I'll visit. I promise. The queen smiled weakly and stepped onto the royal ship with her daughters. The soldiers followed. Engines roared. Light filled the sky as the fleet lifted upward. From the window, the two girls pressed their hands against the glass, waving through tears. We will come back for you. Rian stood beneath the fading purple glow of the ships as they vanished into the clouds. He had saved not just a family. Not just a crown. But an entire future. And the legend of the human who defied fate itself had only just begun.